Jeff, I believe you accidentally unmuted yourself, so just as a heads up there.
Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to the Allegheny Clarion Valley School Board Workshop meeting for October 10th, 2022. The AC Valley workshops are conducted virtually, and the link to access the workshop is posted at acvsd.org. During this workshop, I'll provide the school board members with information to help clarify agenda items. But again, I remind the school board members to just jump in if there's questions or comments throughout the workshop. And at this time, Madam Secretary, could you please conduct the roll call?
Carrie Armagost.
Here.
Megan Dreher. Brady Fight.
Here.
Diane Page.
Here.
Jeff Powell.
Here.
Corey Sherman. Jameen Stump.
Here.
Eric Sunling.
Here.
Kelly Terwilliger.
Here.
Thank you, Tammy. As you can see, we don't have anybody from the public this evening, but under presentations, we do have our high school Spanish teacher, Mrs. Rachel Paz, associated with the Puerto Rico trip, addressing the school board this evening. If you recall, we've approved the trip in years past, and Rachel is going to join us to provide an update and to answer any kind of questions that we may have. So this time, Rachel, if you'd like to jump in, the mic is all yours.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Rachel Paz, the Spanish teacher. So we're planning to take, I actually have a group of 12 students who have made their first payment for the trip. We're planning to take a 7 to 10 day trip to Puerto Rico the week of June 5th. And the tentative chaperones are myself, my husband, Juan Jose Paz, and Edith Torres is a Puerto Rican who lives in Puerto Rico. Tentative, and she actually chaperoned when I took students to Puerto Rico in 2012 from Union High School. So, and she lives there now. She lives in Puerto Rico. The price of the trip is $2,000, which includes airfare, transportation, Entrance fees and meals, all 12 students planning to travel have made their first payment of $525. The students have been doing various fundraisers to accrue the money for the trip. They are currently organizing a 5K turkey trot November 19th on the Foxburg bike trail. So a little bit about the itinerary for the trip. We will be traveling first to the capital, San Juan, where students will tour Old San Juan streets and see the water fountain there. That's beautiful. Visit El Morro and also explore El Yunque National Forest. And there's a beautiful beach there, Playa Luquillo. They'll go there as well. That's on the east side. And then we'll travel to the west side and they'll go to La Cueva Ventana, swim in Playa Sucia, beautiful beach area with a lighthouse above on this cliff. They'll experience the bioluminescent bay, discover Punta Higuera's lighthouse. This is another one, and snorkel at a nearby beach there. So that's on the west coast. Then we'll travel back to the east coast and possibly go to Isla Culebra, which is an island. They're known for their snorkeling as well. So that's the plan. I did just, I made a phone call with one of the places we're planning to stay concerning the recent hurricane that hit Puerto Rico, and if they were affected about that with the hurricane, and if they plan to be open or if they're open. And they said yes, they're running now, no problems. The hurricane affected more the west coast. I did speak with my friend Edith Torres, who lives there, and she said, you know, there are electrical issues right now, but she didn't see any problems with in the summer, June, traveling there. I also inquired about Isla Culebra, which is on the east coast, and that seems pretty good to travel there as well. So I know there were some concerns about that, and of course that's a concern for me too. So we'll make sure that's all taken care of beforehand and as we plan. Any questions for me?
Yeah, Rachel, we did have a couple school board members that had a few questions. Brady, I'm not sure if you want to jump in at this time or just send your email.
Yeah, I just you elaborated on everything was okay down there, and nothing was majorly hit. That was just my concern, that you guys were able to fly in there. The airport was good. Where you're lodging at is good, and the places you wanted to see were okay. Nothing was greatly destroyed. But seems like you're doing your homework on it, so you answered my questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I know Jameen and I have emailed back and forth, and Jameen's been there several times. So is there anything you'd like to add, Jameen?
From what was said, that's pretty much, we talked to some people today too. And yes, the West Coast, the Mayaguez area, actually, they said was very hard hit. And again, the Metro San Juan area was okay. We were there 6 months after the hurricane hit the last time. So, but we always tend to stay in San Juan. The things that I remember from that, the metropolitan areas, yes, did have electricity. There were a lot of outlying areas that did not. And even from what we understand, 2 years later, they didn't. The thing that we had a hard time with was the hotels were very difficult to find anything that had any openings. One reason was because, of course, some of them were hit or they did not have electricity. Some of them after the fact got shut down. They were allowed to stay open originally, and then they were shut down. And also FEMA takes up a lot of the hotel rooms when they are down there for disaster relief. So that was a concern that we did have also about the lodging. And I wasn't sure if you had made arrangements with a tour group or how you were handling lodging. But other than that, we had taken our daughter, who was a freshman in college at the time, and a student from AC Valley who had graduated. And I spoke with them and I asked how they felt while they were there. And they were not overly concerned. They didn't feel like, oh, wow, we're in a place where we don't feel we would be welcome or be threatened. So I think overall by June, it should be enough that the places that you're talking about going to visit should be well within being able to let you in is what I'm trying to say there. So I don't have a problem with it from the research we've done either. I think it's a wonderful trip for the kids.
Thanks. Yes. Yeah, and I'll of course like make sure everything's, everything's fine with the hotels and the places we're traveling before we go. But thanks for your concern.
Thanks, Rachel. Well, I think just moving forward, can you provide us with periodic updates, whether it be, a couple months or when you make moves into, getting the airfare secure, the hotel rooms and stuff like that? Just keep us updated, as we enter into the spring of the year, please.
Will do.
All right. Well, I'll continue on and have a safe trip to you and the kids. And I'm sure we'll be touching base with you throughout the spring of the year.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Have a great night. You can stick on or go ahead and log off. Talk to you soon. Moving down through the agenda, I'll open it up. Are there any board concerns at this time? Not, we'll move into the consent agenda on letter A, page 4. We'll move right into a number of conference and field trip requests. We do start off with Mrs. Logan and Joe Graff. They put in to attend a tour of the Miller Welding in Brookville, PA. That's one bus, so there will be about 30 kids attending. Again, I try to share some information with the school board. This is part of the college and career readiness, and kudos to Mrs. Logan, Dr. Jordan for really getting the kids exposed to a variety of options. And you'll see that throughout this evening's workshop. Mrs. Lowe, Tracy Patton, Julie Raybuck put in to take 65 kids to the post-secondary options fair in Penn West Clarion. That'll be 2 buses. They'll take a tour up there and take a look at the admissions and everything that Penn West has to offer. You'll also see Allie Atwood, our K-12 gifted coordinator. She submitted 4 requests, everything associated with students' GIEP and different goals linked into the GIP. And you can see that the first 3 are related to the ELA curriculum and the students participating in activities at Intermediate Unit 6 in Clarion. And then finally, if we have students that qualify, then they make it down to Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh. And that would be on 11/9/2022. So good luck to the kids. You'll also see at the bottom of page 4 that the ARCA Educational Outreach Program has another wonderful opportunity for the students at AC Valley. We have the music department, including Karen Hetrick, Jenny Lowry, Scott DiTullio, and Lori Sherman, who's part of the discussion, and Bill Jordan's always involved as well, submitted a request to take students down to Lincoln Hall, which is an absolutely fantastic venue. We'll have a couple buses paid for through ARCA, and we'll be rotating grade levels and groups of students down throughout the day. We'll still work on the planning portion of it, but it's about every presentation is about 35 minutes down there. So we're hoping to bring the kids down, expose them to, the music that's being played, and help to support the love for the arts within our students. On page 5, you'll see Mrs. Logue, Tracy Patton, the school nurse, and 8 SAD club members put in to attend the annual SAD conference. That's located in Seven Springs, and the cost of that trip will be paid for through the SAD club. Minnie Logue again put in with Tracy Patton to tour the Pittsburgh Technical College. They're going to take about 30 students down there, and PTC is going to pay for portion of that, and the district will pay for the other portion as well. And Minnie's been down to that technical school in the past as well. And then you'll see a annual trip that we take up to the Career Center. Those 44 students will be our 9th graders. They'll go up and tour all the shops, and they'll have a short presentation, and we'll prepare to start scheduling here before you know it. So it'll be good to have the students up there to explore all the options that they have, and that'll be tied into the scheduling for the following school year. And then myself, I put in to attend 1 day of the PASA PSBA School Leadership Conference on November 1st. And then the second day is a training through PSBA associated with the required trainings for not only the safety and security officer, but also the staff. And there's a whole host of trainings that had came out recently, and we'll be working with Heather Mascar through the PSBA policy network, and she'll be breaking down the required trainings and ensure that we're in compliance. And that held in Kalahari Resorts and the Poconos. And again, that'll be paid for through Title 2A, part of our professional development, federal money that we utilize on professional development. And then you'll see our final conference or field trip rather down to the Byam Theater in Pittsburgh. It's good to see that everything's opened up, and they'll be down there seeing various Christmas musical presentations. But that's the SAD Club, as well as the business leaders of tomorrow. And Julie Raybuck and Tracy Patton has been spearheading trips like this for a good number of years, and they're bringing in the SAD Club as well. So good luck to that trip as well. And it's a wonderful opportunity to get our students exposed to different cultures down in Pittsburgh. You could take us back up to letter B. Aaron, are there any questions on those conferences or field trips that I shared with you?
I think it's
Moving
great
down.
that Minnie and Bill are taking the students to go see other options other than just colleges, such as trade schools and, just other options like that. I think that's just wonderful.
Agreed, Brady. It's fantastic that we're pushing more towards college and career readiness. As we all know, we need people out there developing their skills and getting into the workforce. So we do a wonderful job up there, and Minnie really cares about those students and exposes them to as many opportunities as possible. Letter B in the consent agenda, we just have Tim Seltzer, he's putting in for the guest teacher, and then Amanda Rankin, she put in to be a substitute secretary as well. Letter C is an exciting initiative. I'm part of a health initiative for rural Pennsylvania committee. I've been on this committee for about 2 years now. We started it back whenever COVID struck, and there's a number of different partners, the Pennsylvania Office of Rural Health and Penn State University itself. And their mission is to focus in on rural Pennsylvania, which is nearly 7.7 million acres, 59,300 farms. And a lot of times these rural communities do not have access to healthcare. A third of Pennsylvania's population lives in these designated areas, and roughly 20% of that population is under 18, 28% of the baby boomers, and the rest are 65 and older. And a lot of the folks that are living out here don't have the funds to properly take care of their overall well-being. So with all that being said, we had focused in on the health and wellness of our young people attending school age. So for the last couple of years, we've been talking about COVID prevention. And about 6 months ago, I spoke up and said, hey, we need to change the narrative here. We need to be looking at students' well-being and health moving forward to not only target this virus, but also overall health and be able to prevent any kind of flu or whatever it may be. So we started to change and utilize some of our grant funds to offer different programs. So the program that I have in front of you will be working in conjunction with our cheerleading program that we have up there on November 12th. I talked to Mara about this, and they're more than excited. So the plan is to offer 4 different sessions with doctors and healthcare professionals from the Butler healthcare system, and we'll be having breakout sessions, and we envision it to be down by the LGI and various classrooms up and down that hallway. So when the cheerleading events going on, there's going to be some downtime for certain parents and schools, and we'll be able to provide them with a eat right, sleep well, move more, and stress less workshop. And like I said earlier, we have grant money, so there will be gift cards, there will be giveaways, and it'll be a wonderful event for not only the community that's involved with the cheer group, but I'll also send out a school messenger and invite the rest of our community and students and everybody else. So we've been working on this plan for about 3 months. I've been coordinating with our high school staff as well as the cheer group, and we're ready to get moving. So just to promote this program and also ensure that we don't have any kind of conflicts, I had put this motion in front of the school board. In addition to that, I'm going to share some other exciting news and more detail at the voting meeting, but we're able to utilize about $35,000 of this grant to buy heart rate monitors and pedometers that we're going to incorporate into our health and physical education classes for not only here at AC Valley, but for all the students in Clarion County. So I've been working with some of my colleagues, and I'll meet up again with them on Friday, but we're hoping to get all our students in grades 10, 11, and 12 pedometers, heart rate monitors, incorporate it into the curriculum with the health and PE teachers, have a shared website, and also joint professional development for the health and PE teachers. And then we envision that once the seniors graduate, they'll take these pedometers and heart rate monitors off to them, and they'll be able to focus in on individual health and wellness. And we're real excited about this partnership that we have. And unfortunately, I am on that committee, and as anything else, I spoke up. So I took on a majority of the role, and will continue to work with the group. Moving down through the agenda, letter D, this is associated with the Spanish trip, but we have an overnight field trip release form. I have this in front of Zach Shekel right now being reviewed as well, but I just wanted to make sure it was updated. I wanted to make sure the school board was aware of some of the expectations that we have with our students when they take overnight field trips. Letter E is a request from Dean Whitmer to be a volunteer with the girls softball team. He is recommended by Dave Sherman and the softball coaches. And then letter F and G, really excited to have our PTO up and running again. And as you can see, there's a whole host of parents that are more than willing to be part of that program. So we have Stephanie Masters, Missy Smith as co-presidents, Linda Jenkins and Jamie Eiler as co-vice presidents, Natasha Greibel and Amanda Sanders as co-secretary, Krista Long and Tina Minix as co-treasurers. And then you'll see that we have Amanda D. Hart, Hannah Either, Caitlin Elder, Jessica Lemon, and Melissa Russell as volunteers within the program as well. We do have a room in the elementary that the ladies can work from and do various fundraisers. And just keep in mind that a lot of the fundraising that they do go directly into the students, and a number of these field trips and activities that we provide for the elementary students. Letter H, we have employee number 86 requesting FMLA leave. And then finally on page 2, we also have employee number 120 requesting family medical leave as well. Are there any questions about the consent agenda before we move on? Under finance and purchase, we'll pay the bills and get the cafeteria report on Monday the 17th. But the one item that I did want to address right now is letter H. That's a 2-year renewal from Simple K-12. It's a online professional development program paid for through the Title II-A professional development money I talked about earlier of $13,326. This is a discounted rate. I shared with the school board a number of the workshops that our teachers have been participating in over the years. We utilize this not only through in-service days, Act 80 days, but the teachers also have the ability to access the program and get their Act 48 hours. Just keep in mind that all certified staff in Pennsylvania need to acquire 180 hours over a course of 5 years. Some of the programs that they provide is learning loss, administrative resources, assessment and review, blended learning, blogging, business education, classroom management, college and career readiness, Common Core standards, communication and collaboration, counseling, desktop applications, differentiated instruction, digital citizenship, digital media, digital storytelling, diversity, early learnings, ESL, game-based learning, Google Basics, the whole Google suite, learning theories, mobile learning basics, personal enrichment, podcasting, reading and writing, RTI, school safety, social media, special education, STEAM, tools for students projects, virtual learning, and web tool overview, as well as website and workplace wellness. So we can tailor make certain days, like for example, the Act 80 day that we have, we focused in on trauma and school safety. So we were able to pull together learning modules, but the teachers also have a lot of flexibility. This is at least the second time that we have renewed this particular membership. So I know I covered a lot with that, but are there any specific questions about this professional development opportunity? Okay, moving into personnel, letter A and B, due to district needs that we have right now, we are advertising for 2 full-time temporary grant-funded child-specific aides. Just as an update, we have 1 internal applicant from a part-time child-specific aide currently, and I have 2 external applications for the other vacancy. We did sit down with federal programs. We do have money in this grant to continue on with not only the 22-23, but also the 23-24 school year with these grant funded aides. We'll continue to review the needs of the district and the schedule within these child specific aides with our new special ed supervisor. So we'll continue to keep it in the forefront of our thoughts as we move forward. I'm hoping to interview and we'll make a recommendation to fill those 2 vacancies on Monday, October 17th. Moving right down into letter C, we are adding Dr. Brandon Maines to the special education department. Brandon comes to us with lots of experience. He's been a IU employee for a good number of years. He's worked with Clarion, North Clarion, and now AC Valley. He was on campus today. He met with a number of staff. We're getting him all the credentials, emails, swipe badges, keys, IEP writer at Insight, and our focused student management system login information. He also met with Dr. Anessa Steele as she was departing. Today was her last day, and we'll miss Dr. Steele, but we look forward to working with Dr. Maines coming into the district. Letter D is a letter of resignation from Valerie Snyder. Valerie's helped out with the varsity girls basketball program for a good number of years, and due to a conflict with her work, she cannot continue to maintain that role. So letter E will advertise to fill that vacancy. Letter F, if you recall, Tony McGarvey was our head basketball coach, and he also coached elementary. Dave Sherman reminded us that we have to post for to fill that vacancy because Chris and Brad are not interested in that portion of it as well. So we're hoping to fill that with somebody who's interested in the community, maybe a parent or next door neighbor. So please be sure to share that information out. Letter G, we're making a recommendation to hire Stephen Myers as the assistant junior high girls basketball coach. Stephen doesn't have any experience right now, so he'll come on at $1,521 for that position. Before we move into instructional services, are there any questions or comments about personnel? On the top of page 3, we are making a recommendation to make Wednesday, May 24th, 2023, the day of our graduation. We did not notate that day on the school calendar because we wanted to see how last year's graduation went on the Sunday, and it went off well. We did struggle a little bit with staff at the time because of the weekend. Dr. Jordan was able to survey the senior class, and a majority of them, roughly 70%, chose Wednesday, May 24th, 2023 as a date.
So just a question about this. If we approve this date, this is a date set in stone. We're not moving it because of any sporting events, because of, somebody's on family vacation. Once we pick this date, this is the date and we're sticking with it, correct?
That's correct, Brady. If we vote on the date, that's the one we're sticking with. Now, we did talk about the potential conflict of softball playoffs and baseball playoffs. And from talking to Dr. Jordan, there's a lot of schools that have that Wednesday, and he's on the committee. We'll try to do what we can to work around that date. But that's a really good point, Brady. Once we choose that and we vote on it, that's the one we're going to stick with.
Okay, I just want to double check because I don't want to change these dates 3 times. I mean, and anybody listening in the community, if you have an issue with this date, I strongly urge you to come to the voting meeting and voice your opinions about this, because I'm not in favor of changing the date 3 different times after other family members have been told and made plans and arrangements to attend this event.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, moving into policy, I think we went into great detail last month as far as the policy 236.1, 805, 805.2, and 808. And that's all associated with Act 55 of 2022. And that's just updating our threat assessment policy, our emergency preparedness and response policy, school security personnel policy, and food service policy as stated. So we'll have the second reading and then they will move into our policy manual. We don't have anything under facilities and we just have one item under transportation at this time, and that's just Pam Myers putting in a request to add a van contract. She'd like to add a 2012 Honda Odyssey to help support her fleet and to meet the needs of some of our students and programs they attend. Under miscellaneous, we'll report back on Monday with various reports underneath that item. And then under old business, we just want to remind the school board members and administrators on this call that we will be meeting at the Career Center next week. I'd like to remind the community that we don't have access to technology up there, so we will not be live streaming it, but the meeting at 6 o'clock is open to the public. We are asking that the school board members and admin show up at 5 o'clock for a tour of the shops, 5:30 for a dinner provided by Culinary Arts, and then we'll move right into the voting meeting at 6 p.m. And under new business, I did have a couple late arrivals, 3 as a matter of fact. The first came from Student Council and Drew Whitcomb, and they asked to have the Powder Puff football game. And we're looking at 2 different dates, but I think on November 9th is going to be the date that has the least amount of conflicts with the football field and various other senior high activities. So on the voting meeting, we'll modify the agenda and add that under the consent agenda. And then we also had a request from Andrea Stewart to attend the PASBO conference. This conference isn't until March 14th, but the registration and hotel rooms are being booked relatively quickly. So we are asking to put that in front of the school board. We do have money in the budget associated with that conference. And then today, Mrs. Sherman brought in a request to send 4 teachers from the district. I believe we have 3 elementary, 1 high school, and 1 administrator to Intermediate Unit 6 to be educated on the next generation science standards. Now, this has been something in the making for a good number of years, and we'll be shifting our curriculum alignment. It may impact the pacing, it may impact the curriculum itself and how it's being delivered, but we'd like to get out in front of it because it'll be moving into changes for next school year. So we'll utilize Title IIA money to pay for that cost. It's a day-and-a-half training. So it'll either be Bill and Lori attending as the administrator, and we'll have the appropriate science teachers with that as well. And if I don't hear any objections, I'll add those 3 onto the agenda for next Monday. Okay, if there's no questions, then we can go ahead and conclude the workshop. Really appreciate everybody taking time out of their day and working down through the agenda. And as you can see, we have a very exciting October 17th voting meeting at the Career Center. So please take care and have a good evening, everybody.
Thanks, David. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
David, did you say you found the email that I sent you there?
Yeah, I'll respond back to you, Brady, whenever we're done here.
Okay, thanks so much, David. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Have a good evening.